Okay, so hi, I'm back in all my glory. I wanted to try to say a few things about responsibility and gratitude and pose a genuinely heartfelt question. What got me on this track was what has been going on in my life, which has been a nonstop tirade of responsibility and having no time to even recoup physically, no time to do anything other than survive. And I know that the majority of people in the world can relate to that in some way. Most of us are on that train. And what got me up in arms, if you will, about it was the whole Nicki Minaj drama. Um, and her trolling the world about being number two on the Billboard music charts. Something I cannot relate to in any way, shape, or form. Number one, I think I've mentioned it before. I trained to be an actor. I have a college degree in theater, blah, blah, blah. I've done movies, blah, blah, blah. And in my way of thinking, better a has been than a never was. I mean, I'm sitting here in the position of a never was. Yeah, I do things, but nobody knows who I am. Nobody cares. I'm certainly not rich. So, I can't wrap my mind around this thinking of being, as Wayno put it on Complex News Everyday Struggle, um, being a sore loser. I can't, I can't wrap my mind around having so much success, so much money, so much, and not being happy with that. At one point in my life, I worked at a very fancy dress shop. Very fancy. Like, like one of the women who was a regular customer there um, had a shirt she was selling, amongst other things. And it was the shirt she wore to the some major awards. Ah, how could I forget that? The Nobel Peace Prize awards. So, oh, yeah, this shirt I wore to the Nobel Peace Prize. These are people who thought nothing of spending $5,000 on a handbag. And I would like to get to that and Jeffree Star and the moral imperative and all that at another point. But these were extremely wealthy people, and it was the first time in my life that I'd ever had a real one-to-one brush with wealth on that level. And it was astounding. These were not happy people, and I could not understand that. I've never been able to understand that. And I read a study that said that there actually is an equation for money and happiness. And what they said was that $250,000 seems to be the sweet spot. You get above $250,000 and your happiness starts to decrease as your wealth increases. And the same is true on the downside. Well, I can only relate to the downside. Um, I mean, I have nothing, literally. And it comes back to another pattern in my life. It seems like I've always been given this choice of where I have to choose between having money or being happy. I've never had a really good paying job, but I've had some that were better paying than others. And without fail, the ones that had the better pay were the ones I liked the least. The job I have now pays as close to nothing as is legally allowable, and I love it. The irony is fantastic. Which leads me to the question that I wanted to pose to anyone watching this. As I've mentioned before, I grew up in a green school bus. I'll show a picture to prove it. Who knows what people believe, but I really did. And we literally had nothing. It was a fantastic way to grow up, and I loved it, and I cherish it to this day. But I know what it's like to be super, super, super poor. So anything I had, I was tremendously grateful for. I had a lot of gratitude for whatever I had. And truth be told, especially given the circumstances, I had a lot. I was one of those kids who always had a new box of crayons the first day of school, and whereas my friends who grew up in fancy houses and this, that, and the third and had nice cars didn't have that. That's a whole other subject. I think I've actually touched on it before, but I remember being so tremendously grateful for those things that I did have. And then as I became an adult, I noticed a very disturbing trend in my life. When I became extremely grateful for something, it was taken away. The current house I live in right now is very nice to my standard. It's an old farmhouse, beautiful adobe brick. I love it. Wood floors. It's gorgeous. I still haven't fully decorated it. I still haven't fully moved in, as they say. I've been here for almost 5 years. I have a phobia of that because every time I would get my house, I went a number of years, every time I would get my house exactly the way I liked it, I'd have to move. Every time. Every time I would feel tremendous gratitude for something, it was taken away. And I've thought, was it because I was clinging to material objects? Was it because what? That's not true, because it happened with people too. And situations. It happened across the board. So my question to you all is, what's wrong with gratitude? Where have I gone wrong? Why do I have to tiptoe around gratitude now in my life? When there's people like, and I know that it's dangerous to compare your situation to anyone else. That's a losing game. I know that. Maybe that's what I need to be reminded of. I don't know. But I see people have so much and zero gratitude for it. None. The Nicki Minaj situation, and I don't know, who knows what the reality of that situation is. She could be trolling us. She could be playing us all and just trying to keep our name in the media up records. Who knows how that works? And it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, this is what she's showing. This horrific lack of gratitude that is disgusting to most people, me included, but it does bring up this whole thing in my own life of like, why can't I show gratitude for the tiny, tiny, tiny things that I have? I have so little, and I'm so grateful for it, and I have to be careful with that gratitude, because the second I really embrace it, yank, it's gone. And here's what I was thinking behind that. What I was thinking behind that was, maybe I don't demand enough out of life. Maybe I settle too quickly. People only treat you the way you allow them to treat you, right? Maybe life is only treating me the way I'm allowing it to treat me. And I'm a firm believer in cause and effect. That is the primary guiding principle for everything in my life. Cause and effect, and there's a reason for everything. firmly believe those things. Firmly. But beyond, you knock into the table, the glass falls over, the milk spills, cause and effect. There's a bigger picture cause and effect. A reason, a larger plan. So maybe it is just that I'm not asking enough of life. Maybe it's setting the bar too low to be happy with what I have. The tiny little bit that I have that most people would find laughable. Really. I mean, we're talking about once my bills are paid and this, that, and a third, having literally like $50 left. And being grateful for that $50. And I'm no saint. Okay, let's get that straight. I have a lot of self-loathing for the fact that that's all I've accomplished at this point in my life. A tremendous amount of self-loathing, which leads me back to this whole other place. That's another topic, another video. I just feel like I really need to crack open this gratitude thing. It's been weighing on me very heavily, and I need to know how to look at it, and then more importantly, how to go forward, which has been a primary stumbling block in my life all along. Call it a lack of imagination, which is absurd because I have a huge imagination, but really knowing what to do. Simple everyday problem solving. Like, okay, so I'm not satisfied with a situation. Like, logistically, what do I do? And that was the problem I had in my life in my 20s. People go, well, you need to learn yourself. You need to do this, that, and a third. And I'd be like, okay, wait a minute. Back up. You need to learn yourself. What does that mean in actual action? And I do plan on covering that in subsequent videos because I had to figure that shit out for myself. Like when people said those sort of wisdoms and platitudes, trying to figure out what those things meant, and then going and doing it. It's like, why do I have to decipher this code? Why can't you just tell me straight out? Well, because life doesn't work like that, obviously. Anyway, I'm sure someone's about to call and I have to go do something, and that's the way that is. All right, thanks, guys.